Hello guys, in this video I will show you how to prepare the spaceship for RBD destruction. Okay, we're in Houdini now, so let's put down a geo node, rename it spaceship. Okay, let's jump inside, put down a file node and bring in the mothership model. The reason why I started off in Houdini and not in Maya is because, as you can see, the spaceship is really big. You can't even see it properly. So press F to focus. And as you can see with the meter line here, it's almost 2,000 meters. It's way too big. So we'll have to scale it down. Put down a transform node. Put your view on it. Go to the uniform scale and bring it down. Press F. It's still too big. Bring it down even more. Press F. We can afford to bring it down just a bit more. So it's roughly around 10 meters now. So this should be good. We can put down another file node. Switch this to write files. Click on that. Create a new folder called export scaled and type scaled spaceship. .obj. It has to end with .obj, so it's not going to export as a BGO. Okay, put your viewer on this. Let it cook. Okay, you just exported your spaceship. Jump into Maya. Bring in your spaceship. File, import. Scaled spaceship. Import it in. And there you have your nicely scaled spaceship. The first thing we want to do is separate it into 3 parts. The top part, which we are going to use for destruction. The middle, which is going to be animating, but we're not going to destroy it. And the bottom, for the bottom explosion. So we're going to start with the top. Go to your channel box or layer editor. Click on this button right here. Add a layer, name it as top destruction. Okay. Now you need to select your pieces that you want to put in. So select, oh yeah, I forgot. It comes in as one piece, so you need to separate them first. Right click, shift right click, click separate and wait for a while. Okay, it's separated, and now you have separated pieces of the spaceship. First, what you want to do is isolate the top, which is the parts that you are going to be destroying, because obviously if we are going to prepare the whole spaceship, it'll be a lot of work. So to make it easier for you guys, just select the part that you are going to be destroying. So I'll select this area, top hull, select it like that, and begin to deselect the parts that you don't want. Control. You don't need these, so deselect this. Control Shift left click drag to add to selection. Add this. Add these as well. Deselect the bottom part because we don't need it yet. Select the top plate. You should be good to go. If you're happy, you can put them in your layer. Right click, add selected objects, and then click this V button to hide visibility. And as you can see, these are the parts that's left. Okay, so now I can select the whole thing, add another layer, double click to rename, and rename it as static. Add them into this layer, and now we're going to do the bottom part. So create another layer, rename it as bottom destruction, and begin selecting the parts again. So select these, you don't want this, don't want this, try to select the top a bit more. Clean up the parts you don't want to be selected. Control drag to deselect. If you're happy, right click and add selected objects. Okay. So you have the top, this part that we're going to be destroying, the middle, the static part that we are not going to be touching, and the bottom part. Oh, left this one out. So select those, go to static, add selected objects. There. Looking good. Okay. So the next order of business is to prep them. And I'm going to show you guys with the top destruction over here. There are a few rules to prepping, which I am going to demonstrate using this object right here. Click this button to isolate select. And as you can see, the pivot's down there because previously the whole spaceship was combined. So click this center pivot to pivot it dead center to this object instead. Press F to focus. Now you have your object. The first rule is you need to have 4 sides for every face. So for example, go to face mode. This face, it has 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 sides are okay, but that is game topology. So 4 sides are the most optimal for destruction. The other rule is you can't have n-gons. What are n-gons? N-gons are shapes that have more than 4 sides. So heptagon, hexagon, pentagons, etc., etc. You can't have those. Those will mess up your destruction and the topology. So like this face right here is an n-gon because it has more than 4 sides. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It has 11 sides and we cannot have that in our topology, so we need to fix it. And if you see at the bottom here, there's a gaping hole. You can't have holes in your geometry either, which again will screw up your destruction later on in the dynamic simulation. So you have to fix this too. Okay, let's get fixing then. Select these 2 edges. Click this button here. It creates a bridge to fill the hole in. So you covered your hole first. And now we are going to fix the n-gons. In object mode, click this multi-cut button here. Hover over the vertices or the points. Click on it. Click, hold it, don't let go yet. Let it go. Press enter. And the multi-cut tool just created you a line, which is used to fix your topology. We want to do this until all the faces have 4 sides and there are no more n-gons in sight. So I'm just gonna do this quickly. Can click to connect from the previous line you made. Control Z if you don't like the line and you want it to be straighter. If this happens, just press enter first, then go here and hover over a place you can find a connection and make a line there. It's not straight, just move it. Connect that. You guys can do this as neat as you want later with all the straight lines and whatnot. So just gonna do it pretty quickly for you guys first. Okay, Press Q to exit out of the multi-cut tool. Right click, drag object mode. And now check if there are any angons or any holes in your geometry. So it looks fine for now. We are going to head back to our view. And another rule for destruction is you cannot have intersecting geometry. So what you have to do is simply move this up a little bit. And maybe tilt it. Press R and rotate. W to move down. And all you need is this tiny space so that it doesn't intersect. How to zoom like this is Alt right click. So you don't have to scroll. You can just zoom slowly. And you have to prep every single one of these pieces, just like what I had shown you. You can't have any holes. Has to be 4 or the least 3 sides per face, and you can't have any intersecting geometry. So every one of them has to look like this. You have to maybe tilt it. Oh, go here. Control G to group. F to focus your group. Press E, center pivot, and rotate so it doesn't screw up the rotation. Maybe angle it here or move it down and angle it even more. However you guys like, but none of these objects can intersect with one another. So you'll have to do it for a lot of these tiny pieces. That is the importance of why I told you to isolate the parts, so you guys don't have to prep the pieces at the back, which you are not going to even be using in the simulation. So okay, moving on. Example that I am done with the prepping and everything for the top and the bottom part. What I'm going to do now is select the top part and export it. Go to File, Export Selection. In this folder, you can export as OBJ as top destruction. Wait for it to export. Okay. Moving on to the bottom. You'll have to prep this too later, but for now I'm just gonna export it. Create a file, export selection, name it bottom destruction. Wait for it to export. In the same order of business for the static part. Name it static. Okay, done exporting. Save your file if you want to, but for now we're going to jump back into Houdini. Hide this geometry, create a new GeoNode, rename it. Need to separate this. Put down a file node. Bring in your top destruction first. Okay. Alt left click, drag and release to copy paste instantly. Name this bottom destruction. Bring in your bottom part. Copy paste again. Name this static. And bring in your static object. Okay, so now you have individual parts separate. That's good. Now we want to set up a camera first, so get a good angle. Maybe around there. Control click a camera. And if you're not happy with your angle, you can always click this to move it around. But remember to uncheck your lock camera, if not you will screw up the angle that you like. So I set up my camera over there and my spaceship parts. Okay, so now we are going to animate the spaceship here. So go to this file first. Let me just hide all of those and put this on. And here we're going to move this aside, put down a transform node. Okay, now we're going to set our keyframes to 100, 100, which I've done already. Go back to frame 1, translate, Alt click to key, go to frame 100, move it slightly that way maybe. You can check with your camera if you want. Alt click to finish your translation. Okay, it's moving too fast for my liking, so I'll slow it down. Still a bit too fast, so I'll slow it down even more. Can see from the camera view how it moves. It's still too fast, so I'll bring it down. It's a really big spaceship, so it is expected to move very slow. Okay, let's say we settle with this animation for now. If you want, can also rotate it. Alt click again. Maybe put a slight rotation in the beginning, see from your camera. Okay, go to frame 100. Take it a bit this way maybe. And maybe even spin it a bit. So now you've got your spaceship animating. What you can do, select this, Control C to copy, jump up, Control V, paste it, link it there, and do it for every one of them. Okay, you can switch this on and it'll have the animation playing with its separate parts, which is good. This is exactly what we want. So now we're just gonna organize it a little bit. Select these, maybe click this button to create a small box to organize your stuff so it's not that messy. Click C for color, maybe color it a dark purple, or yeah, that's better. Press C again to hide it, and you can rename it whatever you want. For example, I'll just rename it spaceship parts. Okay, that's good. And that's it for this lesson. On the next lesson, I'll teach you guys how to do a basic setup for RBD destruction.